Okay, good morning everybody. My name's Matt Parker. I'm a business analyst in the product management department at the NCC. And I'm here today to talk to you briefly about some of the tools and services that we have available for network administrators. So I'd like to make a start by letting you know a little bit about our organization. The NCC is one of the 5 regional internet registries that make up the Internet Registry System. So along with ARIN, who support North America and Canada, LACNIC, who support the Latin America region, AFRINIC for the continent of Africa, APNIC for Asia Pacific, and the NCC, our organization, we represent Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia. And together, the 5 regional internet registries are responsible for distributing globally unique internet number resources to our members. And by internet number resources, we mean IPv4 addresses, IPv6 addresses, and autonomous system numbers. Now, the NCC is a not-for-profit membership organization, and our headquarters are in Amsterdam. We have over 20,000 members who are known as LIRs, or local internet registries. As I've mentioned, our primary responsibility is the allocation and registration of these internet number resources. And we do this based on guidelines which are given to us by the RIPE community. Each of the 5 regional internet registries has their own community, and each community decides the guidelines or policies that their regional internet registry will follow. Now, this makes a lot of sense because obviously an organization based in North America, in the USA, is going to have very different needs to an organization based somewhere in Africa. So this allows each of the regional internet registries to distribute the resources in a way that's best for the members within their region. In addition to distributing the resources, we also provide some coordination activities that support the internet globally. So let's have a look at some of these services that we provide. So first of all, we provide some services which are exclusive for our members. The distribution of the internet number resources, and we do this using the LIR portal. This is a medium through which our members can communicate with the RIPE NCC. They can request new resources through the LIR portal. They can request to transfer resources to other member organizations, both within our service region and in other service regions. They can let us know if there's been a change in their business structure, perhaps a merger or an acquisition, and then we can help them to ensure that the registration is all up to date. Obviously, the primary purpose for this is to ensure that people have unique resources so that they can operate their network in a stable manner. As well as the communication method through the LIR portal, members can also certify their resources there using Rpki, but we'll come back to that a little bit more later on. We also have services which are shared, so they are available for our members. The shared services that we have available, there's the RIPE database, where we register information about the resources that have been distributed. We have RIPE Atlas, which is our global active measurement system, and we offer training services to our members and to the wider community. And then finally, we have some services which are available to everybody. We have RIPE Labs. This is a platform where people can share their experiences, showcase tools that they've developed, and present research that they've done. We also have RIPE Stat. This is our one-stop shop for data and statistics. We operate the K-root DNS server, so that's one of the 13 DNS root servers. And we organize meetings for the RIPE community. We do this twice a year, and the community comes together to discuss the current technical and policy issues which are relevant at that moment in time. So let's have a look at some of these services and tools in more detail. First of all, the RIPE database. So the RIPE database is a public database of internet resource information. So when we issue resources to our members, we register this information in the RIPE database. IPv4 addresses in inetnum objects, IPv6 addresses in inet6num objects, and AS numbers in ortnum objects. Along with the information about the resources, we include some contact information in case people out in the internet community need to reach out to these networks. So we register which organization holds these resources and which people or roles, for example, a NOC, a Network Operations Center, who you can contact if you have any questions about traffic you see coming from that network, or if you want to perhaps contact them to make a peering agreement. So all of this information is available in this public database. Additionally, it's possible to register a domain object to request reverse DNS for your network. All of this can be done either from command line, through the web interface on our website, which is known as Web Updates, and via our RESTful API. Now, there's another subset of information available within the RIPE database, and that's the RIPE IRR, or the Internet Routing Registry. The Internet Routing Registry is a globally distributed routing information system. In total, there are more than 30 IRR databases, and the RIPE NCC operates just one of these. So in the RIPE database, our members, when they've received their resources, can make a statement about how they intend to route those resources. So they can say, okay, this is my IPv4 prefix, this is my autonomous system number, and you should expect to see this prefix originated from this autonomous system number. So that's information that's beneficial to operators globally, because it gives them some kind of security when they make a routing decision as to whether or not they should be accepting this route. So there are route objects for IPv4 and route 6 objects for IPv6. Two protocols, two different objects. Additionally, organizations can register information about their peering agreements. So they can, in their ortnum object, they can include import and export lines showing who they peer with, and what traffic they accept from those peers. Now, the Internet Routing Registry system is important for operators, but it does have a few challenges. As I mentioned, there's more than 30 Internet Routing registries, and they all operate in a different way. So first of all, there's some issues with the quality of the data. Some data is entered into the routing, the IRR, and then it sits there for 10 years, 15 years. Well, our networks develop, they change. We make new agreements, we get new customers, and if the routing registry isn't updated, it very quickly becomes stale. Additionally, the different IRRs have different authentication methods. So at the RIPE NCC, in our IRR, only our members can create these root objects. Therefore, we can rely on the fact that they are authorized to do so. Not all of the IRRs work in this way. And because they mirror each other, there are some limitations to this IRR system. So one of the things that the NCC has been involved in recent years is trying to enhance this system. And we're doing this using Rpki, or Resource Public Key Infrastructure. So this is a mechanism to further secure the routing infrastructure, and specifically BGP. So all of the 5 RIRs are an authoritative source of information about which organizations hold which resources. And through our individual systems, we're able to allow our members to get a digital certificate for the resources that they hold. And this digital certificate is signed by the Regional Internet Registry to say, yes, this organization is the legitimate holder of this resource. Once they've received that certificate, they can create what's known as a ROA, or a root origin authorization. This is very similar to the root object that we just mentioned. This is my prefix, this is my AS number, you should see my AS number originating this prefix. Additionally, through the Rpki infrastructure, members can specify a maximum prefix length. So an organization might hold a /21 range, and generally speaking, they may announce that globally over BGP. But for various operational reasons, they may need to start announcing a more specific prefix. And they may not necessarily have the time to go and update the whole RPKI infrastructure to reflect this. So when they create their ROA, they can say, okay, well, this is my /21 range, and you should see it originating from this AS number. But I'm going to set a maximum prefix length of /24. So if you see any announcement between a /21 and a /24 from this range, and it's still originating from my AS number, please go ahead and accept that. That's still a legitimate announcement from my organization. Now, the final step in this process is the Rpki Validator. This is something that operators can download, run locally in their network, and it allows them to validate the routes that they receive against the ROAs which have been created by the resource holders. And this can result in 3 possible scenarios. They can receive a route, compare it with the ROA, and consider it to be valid, because there is a ROA which covers this route and this origin. It can be invalid. That would suggest that the route they've received conflicts with a ROA which is in the database. And finally, the route can be considered unknown. So the route that they've received doesn't match with any ROAs in the database, but it also doesn't conflict with any ROAs in the database. And this is a really strong mechanism for preventing false origin attacks within BGP. Now, on to something a little bit different. RIPE-STAT. RIPE-STAT is a single interface for internet data and statistics. It's available at stat.ripe.net, and you can go there, anybody can go there, it's publicly available, and you can query IP addresses or ranges, you can query autonomous system numbers, you can query host names, and you can query country codes. And this will bring back a set of what we call widgets, which are small visualizations of the data that's being returned. And that data can come from the RIPE database. It can come from the BGP routing data, which is collected through the RIS, the Routing Information Service, which is run by the RIPE NCC. It can come from RIPE Atlas, which we're going to talk about in a moment. It can also come from some third-party data sets, such as geolocation from MaxMind or blacklists from Spamhaus and UCE Protect. So, for example, you could perform a query for an AS number in RIPE-STAT and bring back widgets showing you who the holder of that AS number is, who to contact if you have any issues with traffic coming from that network. You can find out how long the AS has been announced for, which prefixes it's announcing. You can find out how many RIPE Atlas probes are hosted within that autonomous system, and perhaps find out where that autonomous system geolocates to. So this can be really interesting information for network operators and help them to troubleshoot issues within their network. Now, I just mentioned RIPE Atlas. RIPE Atlas is something, again, it's a different service, and it's a global active measurement platform. In fact, it's the largest global active measurement platform on the internet. And by active measurement, what we mean is that this network actively initiates measurements across the internet. I just mentioned RIS, which provides BGP data to RIPE-STAT. RIS is a passive measurement platform. There are route collectors which peer with BGP clients and see information about what's going on in the live network, but it just receives passive information. With Atlas, we can actively initiate measurements. Now, the network consists of probes, anchors, and the controllers within the RIPE NCC infrastructure. So the probes are small USB-powered hardware devices that hosts can connect to an Ethernet port within their network. At the moment, there are over 10,000 probes connected to the RIPE Atlas network. We also have anchors, which are enhanced probes with greater capacity. They also act as stable regional measurement targets within the network. Now, we have built-in measurements and user-defined measurements. So the built-in measurements starts running as soon as the probe is connected to the network. It makes global measurements to the root servers, and it makes regional measurements to the RIPE Atlas anchors. These built-in measurements are available via the RIPE Atlas website, and they're available to everybody. They're visualized in internet maps, and there's hours and hours of fascinating information available there. But the real power of RIPE Atlas comes with the user-defined measurements. So let's give an example of how this works. Imagine you're a network operator and you've got a server based in South Africa, and you receive reports from users in South America that they're having difficulty reaching this platform. The user can then go to the web interface of RIPE Atlas, and they can initiate a measurement. They can select some probes that they want to be involved in this measurement, so some probes from South America where they're experiencing the problem, perhaps also some control probes from elsewhere in the network so that they have a comparison. The web interface will send the details of this measurement to the RIPE Atlas controllers within the RIPE NCC's environment. The controllers communicate with the probes. The probes will then make the measurements to the user server, return the data back to the RIPE Atlas controllers, which will make it available through the web interface to the original user. And they can then use this information to troubleshoot the problem that they're experiencing within their network. So this is a very, very powerful tool for network engineers to troubleshoot their network. It's also a powerful tool for researchers to find out more about how the internet works. The internet has developed organically over the years, and there's all sorts of things going on out there that we really don't fully understand yet. And this gives us real insight into what's happening. The measurements can be made with ping, traceroute, DNS, SSL, TLS, NTP, as well as HTTP. And as you can see from the little box down there in the corner, there's over 19,000 measurements running at any one time, and we're seeing more than 6,500 results per second. So this is a very active measurement. Plus, users can allow their own user-defined measurements to be available publicly for anybody to view at any time.
May I use it for DDoS? I want to kill
We would prefer it if you didn't. I think you'll find it wouldn't be very effective. There's a limit to the number of probes you can use at any moment. Okay. So, this is just a brief introduction to some of these services. So what about if you wanted to know more about these? What if you want more detail? Well, the RIPE NCC also provides training services. And as I look around the room today, I see quite a few familiar faces, which is unusual because I've only been to Serbia once before for a couple of days, so I really shouldn't know that many people in the room. The reason I do is because myself and my colleague Alvaro have been here in Belgrade since Monday, and we've been giving training courses to some of our members, face-to-face training courses. So on Monday and Tuesday, we gave a BGP operations and security training course, and yesterday we gave a measurements and tools training course. In addition, the NCC also provides LIR training courses about the responsibilities that a local internet registry has when they become a member of the RIPE NCC. We offer RIPE database training courses to learn more about how to create objects in the database and how to document your routing policy. We offer IPv6 training courses, basic, advanced, as well as a specific course on security, which is a very hot topic right now. We have online webinars, so it's a 1-hour interactive webinar. You'll be face-to-face online with one of our full-time trainers who'll be able to demonstrate some of the tools for you. And we have the RIPE Academy at academy.ripe.net. There you can log in with your NCC Access account. Anybody can request an NCC Access account. This isn't limited to our members. This is available publicly for everybody. And at the Academy, you can follow online courses about being an LIR, using the RIPE database, basic IPv6, and at the end of that course, you'll receive a certificate to show that you've completed these activities. Now this is fantastic, and these services are very, very popular. But when we give a training course, So for the people who were here this week, they received a certificate at the end of that course, and it was a certificate of participation. That tells us that they sat in the room for the duration of the training course. It doesn't actually say anything about what they learnt during that time. They might have been on Facebook the whole day, but they were there. So that's a certificate of participation. The Academy takes that one step further. You can get a certificate of achievement to say that you've completed this course. And we trust people, but we don't actually know that the person who logged in and completed the Academy is who they say they are. They could easily have given their login to somebody else to complete the course. So in the next year, we want to take this one step further, and we're working on a credentialing project. So this will allow people to take online proctored exams, which will allow us to certify those users in certain areas of knowledge and say, yes, this person is capable of doing this role, they have this knowledge, and we, the NCC, certify that. So we're looking forward to that coming soon in 2019. If you want to find out more about the services Training Services offer, keep an eye on the Twitter account at Training NCC. We announce all of the upcoming training courses there and all of the things that we're getting involved with in the future. Thank you very much for your time. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
You mentioned that there is a Rpki database. You mentioned okay, thanks. Sorry. You mentioned that there is a Rpki database in case we don't want to know more about some autonomous system and some network, we can query the database. But so it's very good because it's some sort of accountability for the people who put the data here, sending traffic. But what about the GDPR now? Is it personal identifier, and what have you done about all this GDPR we have also with Romanians?
Yep, that's a very hot topic at the moment, and it's being discussed actively within the RIPE community. I mentioned that we have these meetings twice annually with the RIPE community, and that's one of the discussions that's going on there at the moment right now. The initial conclusion is that the users in the RIPE database are able to insert their own information into the RIPE database. The NCC never adds any personal information into the RIPE database. It's only the users of the database themselves that enter their personal information into it. They also have the control to remove their personal information from the RIPE database. So at the moment, as far as our lawyers have informed us, we comply with GDPR. But I agree, it's still under discussion, and we'll have to see where that ends.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much.